to the DATEV Challenge Roth powered by HEP. My name is Belinda Granger, and with me today in studio is Dylan McNeice, fresh from the Collins Cup last week in Šamarin, Slovakia. So great to have you with me here all day, Dylan. Now, Dylan, you've raced here twice before. How special is this race and this place of Roth?
Yeah, it's an honour to be here, BG, so thanks for having me. It's a special place at the best of times, you know, so, and I guess after the craziness of the last 18 months, it's even more special to be back here in Roth, and just this race is, you know, a home of triathlon, and it's just great to be back and having some racing on.
Now, you raced here back in 2013 as an individual, and then again in 2017 in a pretty special team, I have to say, Relay Here. What do you think about the course?
You know, everyone thinks it's a super fast course, and it is, but it's also a beautiful course. But in order to go fast, you really can't have a weakness here. So, amazing course, amazing atmosphere out there. It really does lend itself to a fast race, but you've still got to be a really strong athlete to be able to go fast here.
Now, conditions pretty good for today. It's a little chilly for this Aussie, I have to admit. I think we're at 10 degrees C, and I've got the jacket on, but it is meant to be warming up to an absolutely incredible day. 26 degrees, I think that they're getting up to today, so it's going to be nice and hot. So we are going to look at the location profile coming up Germany, now on the screen. A charming Franconian town and proud host of the Challenge Triathlon since 2002. Located near the city of Nuremberg, Roth will once more be the stage for one of the classics in long-distance triathlon, following its cancellation in 2020 due to the pandemic. While athletes will be competing again, it's going to be a whole new experience for everybody involved in the event. So as you can see from those shots, it really is such a beautiful town and a beautiful place. And as I said, a little chilly to start the morning, but we know from a previous experience here, it really does start to warm up quite quickly, and we have had great weather this week so far. Yeah,
a little bit chilly coming from Noosa, I think, Belinda, but back home in New Zealand, it's actually feels quite nice. But even, I don't know if it's nerves or whether it is actually a little bit chilly. I'm sort of feeling it too. But hey, the weather's looking amazing. It's a little bit colder at this time of year than normally in July, so I think the athletes really appreciate that, and yeah, I think it's going to be a great day.
All right, and talking about that today, let's have a look at the start list here today for our professional men and our professional women. So that's a beautiful shot of the canal and the swim start. As you can see, the athletes are getting ready and lining up. We have our professional men. We'll get that start list up to you shortly. But our professional men kicking off today at 7 a.m. with our professional women 7:03. So just 3 minutes after our professional men, as you can see, our men already into the water and starting their warm-up. You can see the mist on top of the water. It looks pretty cold out there.
Bit of mist coming off, which tells you that, you know, the water's a lot warmer than the air temperature. So it is going to warm up, but it might be a bit of a cold start on the bike.
Now let's go and have a little bit of a closer look at the race course we've got today. So starting with the swim, it is a rectangular one-lap swim, anti-clockwise direction. Before they head into T1, and they'll head out onto the two-lap bike course here today. Now, as you said before, Dylan, it is not a flat bike course. 2 laps, there are some significant climbs, only short climbs. Unfortunately, this year we are missing the major climb, Solaraberg, due to roadworks.
Yeah, that's, I think, a big disappointment for a lot of athletes, but at the same time, they'll be happy to be out there racing. It's a really engaging bike course. As you can see, there's not really any real straight bits, lots of hills, bends, change of sort of scenery. So it's a really great bike course.
And of course they do the bike course, 2 loops of the bike course totaling 170 kilometres before they make their way into Roth and into T2. And then once we hit the run course, it is a 1-loop run course. Now the run course did change a couple of years ago. It used to be pretty much solely on the canal. Now of course they do the canal plus go out the other end to Buchenbach. And it is a one-loop course, 42.2 kilometres. And you can see that it goes out to the Landy where they go out onto the canal. Now the surface on the canal, Dylan, is really lovely to run on.
It is. It's a really nice sort of hard-packed gravel. Doesn't mean it's fast. You know, if you're not used to that kind of terrain, it can kind of wear on you a little bit, but it does sort of help absorb a lot of the impact, and like I say, it can lend to a really fast race as well.
Now, of course, that section on the canal is deadpan flat, but they then make their way back into Roth through the town of Roth, which takes them over cobblestones, and then out the other side to the little town of Buchenbach. Now, that course out and back to Buchenbach is actually quite undulating, so it's a little tougher than normal, and we've noticed over the years the run times here have been fairly quick, but since the introduction of this new part of the course, it is a little slower now.
Yeah, definitely. It's a challenging run too. It's deceivingly sort of up and down, heading back towards Roth and Buchenbach. And I think the athletes that have saved their legs for that time will really come to the fore there. And I think you need to be smart on this run course.
And 3 different surfaces I just spoke about. We've got the hard-packed dirt of the canal, we've got the road, and we've got the cobble through town. It makes it interesting for us, but I think it makes it a little bit more difficult for the athletes.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone in the world that actually enjoys running on cobbles. So, you know, like I say, if you can save some legs for those cobbled sections, I really think you can make up a lot of time there.
Now, looking at that swim course, it's deadpan still at the moment. There's not a breath of wind, but we do know from being here all week that the wind does tend to pick up during the day. So we are expecting it to get a little tougher on the bike course towards the end of the day. As we take a look at our men's start list, so finally our professional men's start list up on the screen now. And tell us a little bit about the favourites today.
It's quite hard to pick, you know. We have some people that raced last weekend at the Collins Cup, Braden, Patrick, Sebastian. But then, you know, Andy Dreitz is just an amazing athlete as well. Peter Heimrich, sort of new to the long distance. Franz Loschke had a good race in Frankfurt a couple of weekends ago. Nils Fromhold, previous champ, so really shaping up to be an awesome race.
And of course, we're not supposed to have favourites, but we do have a favourite, don't we? In the little Kiwi, Braden Curry.
Yeah, he's had a tough build-up. He had a great race last week in the Collins Cup, so I'm not biased at all, but yeah, he's a bit of a favourite for me.
And of course, we can't go past the 3 Uber Germans in Sebastian Kienle, Patrick Lange, and Andreas Dreitz, our defending champion from 2019. But a terrific field assembled today. Kevin Collington all the way from the US, so it's going to be a really great race amongst our men.
Yeah, I think we should keep an eye on Thomas Davis as well. He's had a tough season, so it'd be great to see him have a good race.
And we're getting a great shot of the canal and of the swim course out there today. As I mentioned, it is a 1-lap rectangular anti-clockwise swim. Of course, the water temperature is at about, I think, 18.5 degrees Celsius, so wetsuits will be legal.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect wetsuit temperature. And, you know, the swim kind of drags on a little bit. It's a big, long straight down to the first turn, and then it's actually a longer straight back to the next turn. So it's a good swim to sort of settle into the rhythm, and you know, you'll really see the strong swimmers come to the fore as the swim goes on. And
of course, no currents, but it does have a bit of a whirlpool effect once we get all the swimmers in. And you know, I've raced it 10 times, and you do notice that, you're right, that first drag down to the first turning can, but then that whirlpool effect starts to kick in, and you do find that the second part of the swim is a little faster.
Yeah, and you know, the lead swimmers actually get a bit of a hard time swimming back into the age group start. So you know, it's always nice to be out front, but you do get that bit of a chop to contend with as the age group has come past the other way.
Now, who's your pick for first down the swim today? I'm putting you on the spot early.
You know, Braden swam great last week. I think he was the fastest swimmer in the end at the Collins Cup. But, you know, Peter Heimrich, I've raced with Peter before. He's a great swimmer. Thomas Davis is a great swimmer. So, yeah, it could be any one of them. I know Braden loves to lead, so I'm going to say he's probably going to get out in front.
All right, well, you've heard it now. Braden Curry for first out into T1 as we go to our professional women's start list here today. Of course, we've got a great list of professional women racing today. Right at the top of that list, of course, Sarah Crowley from Australia. She was second here in 2019 to Lucy Charles Barclay. But I think nobody could go past Annie Haug from Germany, of course, our current Ironman world champion. She's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, and I think she was a little bit disappointed last week at the Collins Cup. Didn't race as well as she wanted. Yeah, this course, I think, is designed for someone like Annie. So I'm really, really excited to see how fast she can run on this course as well.
And of course, Fenella Langridge lining up for only her second long-distance event. She raced at the championship last weekend and unfortunately had a little bit of a tough time of it when they went the wrong way on the bike. So I think she is ready to rock today.
Yeah, again, she was a little bit disappointed from last week. But she looked like she was in great shape. She soldiered on in that race and got a good sort of last training session in, I guess. And I think she'll definitely be one to watch, along with, you know, quite a number of other women. So it's going to be another great race.
Yeah. All right, now we go back to the swim course. Of course, our professional men are ready. Getting ready. It's not very long before they start. As we go through the swim course, you can see there's just a bit of mist. Might make it a little bit difficult for sighting, but let's take a look at our swim course a little bit more closely.
The swimming in the canal, like, I get goosebumps thinking about race morning and race start.
Swimming in a channel is obviously special. A channel which allows us to go at high speed, go out from the gun, and just hit it.
I know they kind of shut down the gates of the canal, so I think that there's very little current. It tends to be pretty calm water, and so it makes for a very fast swim. It's good for me because I am not one of the top swimmers, and so the faster the swim for me, the better.
I really enjoy the swim in Roth. I've done it once before. I like it how it's flat and it's easy to navigate.
It's like an arena for our sport, you know. It's so good, accessible. Usually the swim is like, okay, the guys are off, then you see them like 45 minutes later again. Here, it's very easy to make a super nice broadcast, and at the same time, I think for some people it might be a little bit of a better feeling to know that you can stop anytime.
Yeah, I think it's the easiest part of the day.
And welcome back. We are exactly 2 minutes to start, so 2 minutes to go time here for our professional men. Dylan, how do you think they're feeling?
Yeah, they'll be a little bit nervous but excited. Those final seconds before the start's always the most nerve-wracking, but you know, once the gun goes off, that's when you just really, that's your happiest moment. You know, all that pressure kind of just goes, and you're ready just to get stuck in. And hopefully, you know, it is a full distance race, but it's going to be there's going to be some fireworks early on, and that can really set up the race. So I'll be excited to see who comes out at the front there.
And of course, our professional women are not too far behind our professional men. 3 minute gap between our professional men and our professional women, as we are 1 minute away from the start of the 2021 DATEV Challenge Roth, powered by HEP. I'm starting to get nervous and excited at the same time.
Yeah, super exciting. The women's race for me, I can't really pick the strongest swimmer there. I think Fenella's actually a really great swimmer, so I'd be looking for her to lead, but you know, it could be anyone, to be honest.
And do you expect Braden Curry to take it out hard and lead early? I think there will be a small group of lead swimmers today.
Yeah, Braden really doesn't know any other way, so I expect him to go out hard, and you know, he just holds on, and he should have a few people with him.
As we go down to our swim start. And they are off. So our race here in Roth has begun. Our professional men are well and truly underway. Another name that we have failed to mention, but I know he is an incredible swimmer, Nick Castelline.
Yeah, I feel bad actually leaving Nick out of that. He's an absolutely fantastic swimmer. Trains a lot with Frodo, and you know Frodo's no slug in the water. So look for Nick to be in that lead group too. And he's one that I think will be sort of up there all day. If he's having a good day, he'll be up there all day. So keep an eye on Nick.
Of course, Nick Castelline. He's not. I wouldn't say he's experienced at this distance. Of course, he's better at the half distance, but he really is coming into this race in very, very good form.
Yeah, he was at the Collins Cup last weekend as an alternate, and yeah, he was pretty confident last week, so he's feeling good and he's ready to go, I think.
No, I agree. It's going to be really great. He turned down the opportunity to race at the championship, and that told me that he really wants to save himself for this race and give it everything today.
Yeah, big time. He was really happy to be there at the Collins Cup, and I think it's actually given him a little bit more motivation, which you know, he was already focused on Roth, so a little bit more motivation can't harm him.
Now, of course, great shot of the swim course here today. It's probably one of the easiest swim courses to navigate in terms of it's straight down, 2 left-hand turns, straight down the other end, under the bridge, 2 more left turns, and then the right turn into T1.
Yeah, you'd almost call it boring if it wasn't for the crowds of people along the side that just, you know, in previous years you can actually hear them, and it's a pretty cool experience.
And we do know that it is now less than 1 minute until our professional women get underway here in Roth. Going off exactly 3 minutes behind our men.
So we do have I think they call them sub 9, or maybe this year sub 8:30 athletes for the men starting with them. So that's why it looks like there's a really big pro field. And same with the ladies. So if you're wondering why there's so many people, it is because they have a few extra starters.
A great shot of our professional women getting ready to go. I think this is probably was always the worst part of the race for me, that 10 to 20 seconds right before the start where you're treading water, just wanting that gun to go off so you can get the day underway.
Yeah, and it is a really crucial part of the swim, part of the race. You know, if you get a bad start and you get sort of a bit swamped by the swimmers, it can really, you know, have a detrimental effect to the rest of the race.
And there we go, our professional women are underway here in Roth today. Fast and frantic start as usual. What does it feel like in those first few 100 metres?
Yeah, it's a
Although
bit
you're probably the wrong person to ask here, because you're one of the best swimmers in the sport, and you didn't have to put up with all that. You were already up the front with a nice lead.
Yeah, well, if I got a clear start, it was a great way to start, just like anyone. But you know, in these kind of deep water starts, you can kind of get caught in that washing machine, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking not knowing whether you're going to sort of make it out of there. So I can see a few people already cleared out quite early, so they'll be pretty happy with that start.
And yeah, I was one of those swimmers that didn't get to start too quickly, and I was always in that washing machine. And I don't know if you ever actually get used to it. You learn to deal with it, but I don't think you ever particularly like it.
No, I think coming from the ITU background, you know, a long distance start was always a bit friendlier than the ITU or the World Triathlon days now. You see some of those starts and they're crazy. You really have to be sort of almost trained to handle that really high intensity, but also getting kind of not punched but slapped around a little bit. So a bit friendlier in the long distance, but definitely still a crucial part of the race.
And of course, 3.8 kilometres today in the canal. Now let's talk about, we do have different coloured caps on our seated athletes. So we know Andreas Dreitz is wearing a light blue cap. Ruben Zapunkten. Now we didn't talk much about Ruben yet. He is an ex-professional cyclist. Started triathlon in about 2017, I believe. He's wearing a bronze coloured cap. Nick Castelline is in green. Sebi Kinlay in a red cap. Patrick Lange in dark blue. Braden Curry in silver. Nils Fromhold in black. Franz in orange. Peter Heimrich in Bordeaux. One of my favourite colours.
Yeah, I was going to say burgundy, but I know you love your wine. So, well, they're both wine regions, aren't they? So
exactly right. So once we get some closer shots of our males, as you can see in the water there, I can already see the light blue cap of Andreas Dreitz on screen. And it looks like Braden Curry with that left arm, that super straight left arm stroke. So Braden off to a great start there. He is, of course, wearing a silver cap. So we can see that we have got Andreas Dreitz and Braden Curry.
I think that's Patrick in the blue, actually. I think it's the
Oh, it
dark
might be
blue.
dark blue. Okay, so it's Patrick there.
And I'm
You're
going
right.
to guess Nick, maybe Castelline in the green. On the far side, maybe.
Actually, you're right. It is Nick Castelline. So that's Nick Castelline closest to screen now that you can see. You can see my eyesight's slowly deteriorating over the years, but you are correct. It is a dark blue cap.
But still a good group here. And with the three of them swimming, you know, abreast like that at the front, they're really sort of lending, you know, giving an advantage to those guys behind. And I think that's why at the moment they've been sort of able to tuck in there and enjoy a bit of a draft.
And I think I even saw the red cap then at the back of that pack, the red cap of Sebi Kinlay, which would be a great start for him.
Yep, so I think the confusing thing there is that the rest of the pros have red.
True, very true. So we just have to, yeah, we are assuming they are all red.
But he could well be in there, and I think when we get another close-up, we should be able to tell a few more.
Pick out his stroke.
The other sort of issue when you swim side by side like this is that you kind of actually slow each other down. You know, if you really want to string out the swim, you do have to go single file and not really give those guys behind any opportunity to draft.
And that's a great shot, aerial shot of the swim. As you can see, it's beautiful conditions. That mist is just starting to lift, and even though we know it is quite cool, it is going to actually warm up very quickly. So we are going to head to a quick commercial break. I'll leave you with a great shot of our professional men. As you can see, we've got both Braden Curry and Patrick Lange leading our race so far.
Successful companies produce a lot, like this, or something like this. In any case, they produce that. Numbers, a lot of numbers. Because with success comes a growing commercial effort. What entrepreneurs need is good software from DATEV. Because we create connections, fast, secure, future-oriented connections between the data in the enterprise, the tax consultant, and every party involved. As one of the largest IT service providers in Europe, DATEV creates connections for sustainable success.
And welcome back to the 2021 DATEV Challenge Roth, powered by HEP. With me in studio today is Dylan McNeese as we take a look at our beautiful swim course here today. One loop in the canal. We know our professional men and women are already underway. We've already got a lead group forming with our professional men.
Yeah, it's a stunning day here. There's not a breath of wind. Bigger group than I would have expected forming. But you know, they are still reasonably early, and if you are a weak swimmer, this is sort of a crucial time for you to really try and hold on, because it's kind of like anything. If you get to a certain point and you're still there, then you're more willing to kind of carry on and hold on to that group. So I do need to correct a mistake I made, which was that red cap will actually be Sebastian. So he looks like he's having a great swim, and the light green caps are the rest of the male field.
So terrific shot of our man, and you can see there that red cap, that is Sebastian Kinlay. So he is in that lead group. He'll be very, very happy to be in the position he's in right now. Of course, up the front, we do know it is Patrick Lange and Braden Curry, with Nick Castelline in the darker green cap. So all of our favourites to take out the swim today, exactly where we thought they would be. We are now 30 seconds away from our first of the age group waves. So we do know that at 7:10, our first age group wave will be going off. We have 13 waves in total today of individual races, and then we have 3 waves of relays.
Yeah, a little bit smaller field this year. I think they've halved it due to COVID restrictions. But still about 1,500 odd very happy athletes to be here and racing. And there goes another washing machine as they start.
Look, what an amazing, honestly, It's just such an amazing sight.
It is. Amazing when you're at the front. I can only imagine if you're in the middle somewhere, and to be honest, I've never really had to experience it. So I think one day in my career I'm going to have to go back and just experience that washing machine.
Yeah, it truly is. It's incredible. And like you said, it is a much smaller field this year, 50% smaller in fact. Normally we have over 3,000 individuals racing here in Roth. This year, due to COVID restrictions, it's only at 1,500. And of course, we normally have over 600 relay teams on top of that. There's only about 320 relay teams racing today. So a much smaller field than we're used to, but I think every single athlete here is just happy that the race is able to go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And just amazing that it is going ahead. And, they haven't spared any expense, that's for sure. We're sitting here in an amazing stadium, ready to welcome all the supporters. So it's going to be a great day.
It really is. And yes, if we haven't told you already, Dylan and I have got probably the pick of locations for our studio. We're spending the first half of the day here, smack bang in the middle of the finish line chute. It's a little different now than what it's going to be a little later on in the day, but it's nice and quiet and actually very calm. But we know that's not going to last long, and from about lunchtime onwards, it's going to start getting packed full of spectators, and it's going to get very loud very quickly.
Yes, it's extremely calm. We did do a little test run yesterday, and I don't know if you can tell, but there are speakers surrounding us, and felt like we're in a nightclub for a little bit. So
Yes.
a bit early for that, I think.
It is a bit early for that. But it is great to be here now and to have a bird's eye view. Obviously, once the stands start to fill and the music starts to go on, we'll be moving into our little studio just out the back, but it's great to still be here at the finish line.
Yeah, pretty cool experience, and it would be amazing to be here and watch the athletes kind of circle around for the finish. But we'll leave the limelight on them at that stage, I think.
Now, we were talking about how it is a limited field this year, and just the difficulties that Felix Walsurfer, the Walsurfer family, and their incredible team here in Roth have had getting this race up off the ground. Obviously, 2020 was a bust. It wasn't able to go ahead because of COVID. This year it has been incredibly difficult. They've had to jump through loophole after loophole just to get this race off of the ground. In July, I believe they were given the green light by the government to start preparing. There was still uncertainty whether it was able to go ahead. And Felix put a great post up yesterday, and it was 2 years of uncertainty, 2 years of worries, 2 years of fear, but 2 years of support, 2 years of cohesion, and 2 years of hope. And I think that sums it up absolutely perfectly, that this race has finally been able to go ahead. Like you said, with a lot of COVID restrictions, with a reduced field. I have to admit, I've been incredibly impressed with the whole setup here, particularly in the expo, in the race park. Just with entry every day, they follow the COVID protocols of the 3 R's, so either recovery, vaccination, or tested.
Yeah. They haven't missed a beat here really, and they never do. So I'm not too surprised to sort of come here and see how well organised it is, and just how, friendly and everyone, all the staff are, and all the volunteers are, just to make it, which just helps to make it a better event.
No, it certainly does, and it's been fantastic just catching up. They have had a great expo, again, a much reduced expo to normal, but it has been fantastic to have an expo here, and I've been here the last 3 days just wandering through, and it's just the atmosphere and the vibe has been brilliant. Of course, as we've just mentioned, it has been very, very difficult with COVID, but Felix and his team have done an incredible job with the 3G, so vaccination, recovery, or being tested. And let's go to a short article on the COVID safety protocols that they have in place here in Roth.
Well, it certainly is different to the former years. I think the main difference is that we are needing the FFP2 masks for everyone involved. Then the so-called 3G rule, you need to be vaccinated, cured or tested in order to access the festival grounds, transition areas, that is different. And then of course we need to keep distances and we need to follow the hygienic rules. And that is now a big sense of relief, a big personal sense of relief that we have a future with the event, that we can organize big events again.
Obviously, they don't neglect that there is COVID-19 around. This is why they worked out a brilliant hygiene concept which will work in the best way and keep us all safe.
The biggest challenge was actually to not go crazy. We had changes of the government on a weekly basis, so it happened several times that we went out of the talks with government, and then in the radio we heard there have been a change. And then to change the whole organization to always meet the requirements was quite hard. The government called us and said, okay, you have the allowance. We actually had 50 working days to set that up. 50. Normally it takes us 1.5 years, so it was full power, full throttle, day and night. We're very proud, even more humble. It is a overwhelming feeling to have the people standing behind you, watching your back, relying on everyone. No knowledge was lost. Everyone is on the old positions, and it's just a fantastic feeling. And it makes me very humble to be able to be on my position, and I couldn't do it without them. Oh.
So as you can see, it's been an incredibly emotional time. I know after talking to Felix that the last 3 months and the last month in particular has just been absolutely exhausting. But I know once we start to rev up this finish line, it's going to be all worth it, and we're going to see an incredible race.
Yeah, and you know, I've barely seen, well, I've seen Felix quite often the last couple of days, but he's always running around just making sure everything's in order. So yeah, I guess the whole triathlon world can be pretty proud that they've got this race up and going for 2021.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. And as I said, I've been working now here at Challenge Roth for at least the last 6 or 7 years, and it never ceases to amaze me just the cohesion that this team has, and they're always got each other's backs, and they just work tirelessly for so many weeks on end. And yeah, hats off to them all.
Yeah, definitely a well-oiled machine here, and you can tell because, you know, last year's definitely hasn't been an easy sort of 18-month period, but you know, you wouldn't know it being here that they've sort of they've had to deal with everything they have. So yeah, amazing to be here, and yeah, looking forward to this amazing day of racing.
Now we do have an update on our professional women on course. So we've been getting some great footage of our professional men, but we have been given an update. And we do know that Fenella Langridge has managed to open up a little gap at about the 900-metre mark of the swim. So great to see Fenella off to a great start. She'll be very, very happy with that. We know Laura Siddle is now in the second group, in about third position in that second group. She's the only one of our top professional women missing from that lead group right now. And we know Kimberly Morrison, who was in that lead group, is just starting to lose contact.
Yeah, and Fenella's great all-round athlete, so it'll be interesting to see how her day pans out from here.
And of course, another athlete that we do need to mention that's racing for the very first time here in Challenge Roth, DATEV Challenge Roth, powered by HEP, is Sarah Piapiano. And I think we may even have her husband online to have a little bit of a chat to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. We've got Michael Lord, Harrison Lord, Sarah and Michael's little son, and of course Rangeley, the adorable dog. So I'm looking forward to speaking to Michael, and here he is.
I'm glad that Rangeley got some input on this. Got mentioned. He's here, so hopefully he doesn't bark too loud.
No, I am very jealous of your dog, and I know Annabelle, my partner, is as well. Michael, how are you and Harrison going without Sarah with you at home?
We're struggling along just fine. I actually came down to my brother's house, and they actually have a 3-week-old, so we're just, hanging out with all the babies.
Awesome. Have you, people do say once you have a kid in your life, your priorities do change a little bit, and you do get a bit of extra motivation. Have you sort of noticed with Sarah that she's had a bit of an uptick in motivation to perform well at this race?
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's mentioned a couple of times that there's just a real trade-off in your time at this point, and I think that she values the time away from Harrison. And maybe I should say it differently, that she knows that when she's not with Harrison, she wants to make the most of her time, and that she wants to make sure that she's showing Harrison how to go out there and really give it her all and reach big goals. And I think that that's kind of added just like an interesting layer and pride that she takes in her training and racing. So it's been fun to see that transition.
And I have to say, I've had a few updates with Sarah now. She's come and seen me a few times, and you know, I don't know Sarah that well, but I just have so much respect for her. Obviously, 6 months. Harrison's 6 months of age. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. 6 months.
And you know, first trip for Sarah without baby, without yourself. I know you were planning on originally all coming over as a family, but COVID unfortunately put a little bit of a stop to that. But she's been nothing but an absolute professional since she's been here. You know, we've been storing her the milk in the freezer here, just all the different things she's had to go through just to get here, and things that she's had to do above and beyond what a normal professional athlete would have to deal with. And she's done it with no complaints, just got on with business. And I'd really love to see her have a great race out here today.
Yeah, and I know she's so thankful for all the help that she's got from the race, and I know both of you have helped her out quite a bit. Yeah, it's a whole new element to add is how do you keep all of Harrison's food and send it back and get it back here okay. So yeah, always changing.
And you know, she raced Boulder 70.3 a few weeks ago, and I think that was a massive step in the right direction, and in 3 weeks' time a lot can happen. And how do you think her sort of trajectory is going for her form today?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at where she was in Coeur d'Alene, which she kind of said she was participating versus actually being able to race, and in Boulder she finally felt like she was in a position to actually be racing rather than just participating. And I think that gave her a lot of excitement that she was on the right path. She did get sick for a week after Boulder, which was unfortunate. So she didn't get all the training in, but I think she got a decent block in between Boulder and this race. And I think that she started to feel her run was really coming around, so for the first time since Harrison was born. And she's such an excellent runner, and she's motivated by coming from behind all day, and kind of having the confidence of feeling her run start to come back, I think was something that she was really excited about coming into this race, and really happy that she started to feel that come around.
Yeah, awesome. I guess I was going to ask, is there an inside word on how she is feeling? But it sounds like she's feeling pretty good, which is great to hear. Did she sort of tell you what her goal might be for today?
Yeah, I mean, I think she always goes into races hoping to be able to compete to win or be in the podium. But I think more importantly for her is to feel like she's able to compete and race at a level which she feels like she's getting everything out of herself. And so I think the difference from Coeur d'Alene to Boulder was mentally really important for her, where she felt like she could actually race and start to really see the level of performance that she likes to get out of herself. So I think today for her, she definitely wants to be up there at the pointy end. But I think ultimately, if she feels like she was able to put a good race together, she'll be happy with that as well.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us, Michael. We really do look forward to seeing how Sarah goes today. And all the best to you and your little family back home. And best of luck to Sarah as well out there today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
And of course, that was Michael Lord, husband of Sarah Piapiano, who is out racing today the very first time here in Challenge Roth, so great to see you having a go of it. But if we go back to our race, you can see our professional women there, and it is Fenella Langridge that you can see out in front.
Still with a good group behind her though, so she hasn't really, given herself too much of an advantage here. We're still, reasonably early into the swim, probably, less than halfway. So, it's when that rubber band starts to stretch, and you can kind of see that whoever's on the second feet there, they'll be hoping to hold on to those feet. But once that rubber band snaps, it can be all over.
And we do know that Sarah Crowley today is in a white cap, Laura Siddle in a light blue cap, Rach Mcbride in purple, very appropriate for the purple tiger, I have to say. Sarah Piapiano in light green, Alina Idlish in red, Annie Haug in pink, Kimberly Morrison in yellow, and Fenella, of course, our leader at the moment, wearing the dark blue cap out in front. So while we are looking at our professional women here in the swim, we're going to go to a little feature on our professional women and who to look out for today.
Happy to race and happy to be there. Beginning of the year, I got the coronavirus myself, and I struggled with quarantine, so it was a bit of a roller coaster, to be honest. But now I'm feeling good, and I hope to be ready. Also, I know I'm not in my best shape ever. Half of the race is in your head, is a mental game, and half of that is a physical game. So my head is 100%. My body maybe is not 100%, but maybe I could surprise myself.
It's been a very disruptive 2 years, and I think it's become the norm to be able to be flexible and make it to races. I actually haven't been to Australia since September 2020, so it's almost a year now that I've been on the road because it's easier for me to train. There is somewhat disruptive because you're not at home, but the shifted timing to September was better because for me, preparation for we were going to go to Hawaii would be to do an Ironman 4 weeks before. But now this becomes a more important race to me with Hawaii being cancelled.
I had a baby 6 months ago, and so I have just been coming back to racing, and one of my career goals has been to break the American record, and I don't know if I'm going to do that here at this race, but it's something that I'm really working towards and something that I'm hoping to achieve before my career is over. So for me, I feel like I'm in a really good place here. I've been running well, I've been cycling well. I know that Roth is a very fast course, so we'll see what can happen.
To be back in Roth racing is just like driving in yesterday when I arrived. I just got all those good feelings again. It's my fifth year here, raced 3 times, was here the 4th year, and had a fractured collarbone, so couldn't race, and obviously last year the race didn't happen, so it's really exciting that we're back.
Now, I don't take any start line for granted. Every start line means a whole lot, and I think that's one of the biggest things that the pandemic has helped me really have gratitude for the start line.
And what an incredible lineup of professional women we have here today. I know Sarah Crowley, after speaking to her last year, she absolutely loves this race and couldn't wait to get back here again this year.
Yeah, and Sarah's an athlete at the moment. It's sort of back on the up. I know she's battled and hasn't been too happy with the last sort of 18 months. She had a solid day last week in the Collins Cup, and I'm pretty excited to see how she goes. I think she's got a good trajectory heading into this day as well, so it'll be exciting to see how she goes.
And of course, Rach Mcbride, we just saw up on screen. Then, was here last year, really loved the race, couldn't wait to get back. And we know Rach spent a lot of her younger years here in Germany and actually speaks a fair bit of German.
Yeah, I think so. I've spent a lot of time here too, and I can't really speak any German, so
I'm the same.
Good on her for learning. But They're an athlete to watch. I think they've had a pretty quiet 18 months, not really many racing opportunities. So it'd be great to see how they go today.
And like they said, just so appreciative that this race is happening and that they are able to be here racing and on a start line.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Laura Siddell's also one of those athletes that's happy to be here, be racing. She had the collarbone issue a couple of years ago that took her a while to come back from. So I think she's pretty happy to be back at one of her favourite races.
And of course, Laura Siddell, straight from Tokyo, so flew straight from Tokyo, where she was there for the Paralympics as a backup or a reserve guide for two of the great British Olympians in the triathlon. So what an experience for Laura. I'm hoping to get a great result out there today. Laura's always a fun one. She lacks a little bit of confidence sometimes going into races. I could sense that she probably wasn't where she wants to be, but she knows this course better than anyone. So she's actually the most experienced on this course if you look at our other top starters.
Yeah, and experience here really does count. You know, when you're looking at the maps and the bike map there and the twists and turns through the little towns and the hills, it really does pay to know this course. And the people that go really fast here do know the course really well.
Actually, you've made a really good point, Dylan. It is, everyone thinks because of the fast times that it has to be a really easy, not so technical bike course. But to be brutally honest, it's probably one of the most technical bike courses you can get. You go through something like 10 towns, 10 small towns with the twists and turns through each of these towns, and of course 2 laps, so you're doing it double. It really is quite a difficult course.
Yeah, you absolutely have to know this course. Otherwise you just find yourself braking a lot and then accelerating a lot. And I think when I was here, you know, I got to ride the course a couple times, but it really wasn't enough to really learn it. And I struggled early on that bike, just trying to sort of keep momentum through all those twists and turns and ups and downs.
And I remember back in 2016 when Jan Frodeno broke the record, went 7:35. He actually had a bit of a tumble that day. There's one switchback in the course, and just overshot the corners just ever so slightly, but it could have ended in disaster. And you know, Frodeno's one of the best when it comes to the technical aspects of the bike. So if someone like the likes of Frodeno can come off here, it just shows you that really knowing this course inside out will make a difference.
Yeah, big time. And Jan would have known this like the back of his hand. He prepares probably better than anyone in the sport. And I do think it was a little bit greasy that day. There was a bit of rain come through, but today's looking absolutely perfect for racing. No rain, touch wood on the forecast. So hopefully everyone stays upright.
As we go back to our professional men down in the swim, leading the race, Nick Castelline is leading our race right now with Patrick Lange right on his heels. So our 2 top swimmers. And let's take a little look at who to watch today in our professional men's field. There are quite a few incredible men racing today, so let's have a look and see who our picks are.
Happy to race and happy to be there. Beginning of the year, I got the coronavirus myself, and I struggled with quarantine so it was a bit of a roller coaster, to be honest. But now I'm feeling good and I hope to be ready. Also, I know I'm not in my best shape ever. Half of the races in your head is a mental game, and half of that is a physical game. So my head is 100%. My body maybe is not 100%, but maybe I could surprise myself.
It's been a very disruptive 2 years, and I think it's...
Being here in times of COVID-19 obviously is a huge relief for us as athletes, and even if we will not have this like fully Roth experience with hundreds of thousands of spectators, I think we will have a good platform to show how great our sport is, and especially with this stacked field, it's going to be a huge triathlon party.
It means the world. The sport is my life. After the cancellation or the postponement of the Ironman World Championship to February, this is the biggest the biggest goal for us in long course triathlon. My goals are not different than in pre-pandemic times. I want to win races.
The goals still are the same, but the mind is changing. You are more thankful for things you have, and especially now that we are able to race and have an event here. Well, not as big as in normal times, but still we have a great opportunity.
Of course it's special because on the one hand it's special because it's Roth. It's my fifth time competing here. And of course it's special this September. And of course Corona is cancelled. A lot of other pros are here. A lot of media attention is here. So it will be a tough day, a challenge each day.
It's been pretty challenging the last couple of years, especially as a professional athlete. So for me, it's just good to be back out and travelling and doing what we love to do and racing against some of the best fields in the world.
And of course, sorry for that little bit of a hiccup at the beginning, where we're showing our professional women again, but good to see our professional men up there, and so many favourites today, and more than that, so many past champions. I think we have Nils Fromhold from 2015, the winner from 2015, Sebastian Kinley from 2018, and of course Andreas Dreitz from 2019. Braden Curry was here in 2019, unfortunately DNF'd. He had a bit of a mechanical, so I know that he is really hungry to make things right this year.
Yeah, and Braden's had an interesting story just to get here, and he's actually going to be stuck in Europe for a little bit, so I think he really wants to make the most of today. But for me personally, I'm really excited to see Sebi Kienle race again, and he's had a tough couple of years, but if you saw him race last week at the Collins Cup, he's definitely one of those athletes that his progression sort of is upwards right now, and I'm excited to see how he goes today.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that Sebi Kienle is one of my most favourite professional athletes in the world. I think I said it about 100 times last weekend at the Collins Cup. And the reason being is because he just wears his heart on his sleeve. He gives it everything. He's so honest about the way he races and the way he wants to get the best out of himself. And like you said, he has had it really tough. That Achilles injury, it just kept lingering on and on. He'd think it was better, than it'd come back and flare up again. So to see him on the start line here today, I would love nothing more than him to have a really great, solid day.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of a man crush on Sebi, I think. So
I don't think you're alone there, so don't worry.
Not biased at all, but Braden would be my favourite, but just coming from New Zealand. But, Sebastian, if he won, I would, I'd live with that.
Yeah, he's a very, very popular athlete. And, of course, a new dad himself, wife Tina and Nino. Little Nino's here. He's only about 8 weeks old, so really quite new. I know the family were not able to be in Šamorín in Slovakia last weekend, so I think it's going to make a big difference for Sebi having Tina and Nino here this weekend.
Yeah, big time, and I think actually going to the Collins Cup and having a room to himself and probably getting full night's sleep will actually really help him this week. So again, can't wait to see what he does when he gets out on that bike. And he had a great run last week in the Collins Cup. So I think, yeah, like I said, things are really heading in the right direction for him.
It's interesting you say that, because often we do forget Sebi can run. We always talk about him as being the Uber biker, and we look at people like Patrick Lange and Braden Curry as being the runners in the field. But Sebi is no slouch when it comes to the run course.
No, absolutely not. And by all counts, he's looking forward to a run battle. So I don't know what that means, whether he's just going to sort of take it easy on the bike and get into a bit of a running duel. But yeah, he can run, and he's really fired up to have a good run and a good run battle today.
And as you can see from our footage, the men on their way back, well and truly on their way back now. They go down to the other end of the canal where they'll take 2 more left-hand turns, come back under the bridge, and then heading into T1.
And I think we got that red cap wrong. I think that is Peter
Heimrich,
who's a great swimmer, and interesting to see him sort of there. He's one that could kind of break that bike up quite early, And if Andy Dreitz is in there too, I could see those two sort of maybe pulling away from this group. So that'll be interesting to see when they come out of the water.
Now, Peter Heimrich, again, another athlete that has not had a particularly great year. He's had a lot of DNFs. He's had a little bit of an injury, but then I think more than that, I think mentally he just started to get really down. It was very, very hard to pull himself out of that rut. But he did have a great race a few weeks ago at Ironman Frankfurt, where he was leading the race for quite some time, finishing in 4th place in the end. So I think that was a real turnaround, and you could just see the difference in his demeanour and the difference in the way that he was talking about racing. He actually said to me, you know, he's now back, and he's definitely in a way better frame of mind, and I'm sure he's probably wanting more of the same this weekend here in Roth. So I agree. I think he's going to have a real go on the bike.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal all-round athlete, and he definitely hadn't been himself last year and this year. So it was great to see him back in Frankfurt in what turned into a bit of a foot race. But, you know, like I say, he's an all-round athlete, and I think he will get out on that bike, and he won't want to drag too many people along with him.
And talking about other top bike riders, Ruben Zapunkta, we haven't spoken too much about him. Obviously, he is from a pro cycling background. I think he was a pro cyclist from 2014 to 2017, but now, of course, a triathlete. But this is his very first time here in Roth, and his very first time over the full distance.
Yeah, it's going to be great to see how he rides. He's been setting some of the fastest half distance rides around the world or around the place. But over the full distance, he could be someone like a Cam Worth that just really settles into his work, and look for a super fast ride time from him today, I think.
We just saw a shot of Braden Curry, so he's still in that front pack, a little further down than when he was the last time we checked, but still sitting comfortably in that lead pack of pro men. You know that Castelline is still leading this first group. Not exactly sure where Ruben Zapunkta is. We know that he is wearing, I think it was a bronze cap. And we know he's a reasonably good swimmer. I'm not sure if he'll be up in this front pack of swimmers, but he definitely is a solid swimmer.
Yeah, he's a good swimmer for sure. So I think he'll be within striking distance when he gets out on the bike. And then, yeah, see how quickly he can catch up and whether anyone tries to go with him if he does go past.
We can see our lead women down there. We do know that Fenella Langridge is still leading our women's race here today.
They definitely, obviously, in a sort of straight line like that means that the pace is a little bit hotter for them. You know, sort of small gaps between feet, which shows that maybe some of these athletes are trying to sort of hold on.
And that does look like a lead group of about about 5. And a great shot of Nick Castelline leading the swim. He's been leading now for quite some time. Trying to work out. There's Braden Curry. And as you said, in that burgundy cap, we've got Peter Heimrich. Making it a little bit more difficult now that that sun is well and truly rising, making it just that little bit more difficult to pick out the colours of the caps. But it's pretty easy to pick out that stroke of Braden Curry. He's got that left straight arm.
Yeah, he might be copying me there. I couldn't really do much about it, and you can't when you're swimming. So, yeah, it looks like they might have just, whoever was leading there might have picked up the pace a little bit, just tried to string them out a bit.
And of course, Braden Curry has really improved his swim. We know that he did a lot of work back home in Australia. We like to call Braden ours every now and again. He does spend a lot of time in Noosa training, and he was training with JR, Johnny Rogers, who's one of our most popular and experienced swim coaches in Australia, Olympic swim coach. He was training with JR about 5 times a week, clocking up some huge mileage in the pool, and I think it really has paid off.
Yeah, and a lot of people think when you swim a lot, you know, you have to give up other things, and you kind of do in a way, but swimming does really help that aerobic fitness. So by Braden spending a lot of time in the pool, it definitely didn't take away from his other, the bike and the run, and think you saw last week at the Collins Cup that he's in all-round good shape.
No, and of course he won his matchup at the Collins Cup last weekend against Patrick Lange and Matt Hansen. And he really did have a great race there. You couldn't fault his race last weekend.
No, he was just kind of confident and just went in and did his thing. He kind of led the swim a lot of it, led the bike a lot of it, and didn't really look back and just pushed through. So I think, yeah, he's another one that I'm really excited to see. You know, he only arrived at the Collins Cup a few days before the race. He had been sick, so his doctor sort of said, stay home, get healthy before you travel. And it's definitely seemed to have paid off. And I had lunch with him yesterday, and he said he's feeling pretty good, but he also said he's feeling nervous, which Braden often doesn't. Not that nervousness is a weakness, but he often doesn't sort of let that stuff away. So I think that's a good thing for him, though.
And it's so funny you say, he really is the most relaxed guy. I had lunch with him the other week at Schmidt Baker, and he seemed to just be taking it all in his stride. So that makes me happy that he is nervous this morning leading into the race. He has a run PB of 2:39.50, which he did at Cairns in 2018. So we know he is one of the best and fastest runners out on the course today.
Yeah, and there's a lot of fast runners, so I'm really excited to see this running race coming up.
And of course, we have another guest on Zoom coming up right now. No other than the masterman, the mastermind behind this race. He is the heartbeat of this race, Felix Walsurfer. He's been out there on course all morning. He will continue to be out there on course all day long. Felix, hello.
Hi, Belinda, how are you? I'm taking you here to the swim exit, so you can watch the swim exit live with me now. The pros are coming. It's a beautiful day, sun is out. A really, really good atmosphere here at the swim start, and we are just absolutely super happy to be able to run the race again.
Oh,
and
look,
here, the pros are coming. Look at that.
Unreal. Perfect timing, Felix. Absolutely perfect. And honestly, to see that smile on your face, you've made my morning already.
Oh, it was a very emotional morning, my friend, but I'm so happy to be here now with everyone.
And
but
look,
now let's go back to the race.
Perfect conditions there today too, as we watch our professional men making their way into T1. And at any time now, we will be seeing our professional men. You can see them there in the background, right behind Felix Walsurfer, as they make their way up out of the swim. We do know that our first out of the swim should have been Nicholas Castelline. There he goes. So some incredible footage of our professional men. Everyone together. So how big is that first group out of the water, Felix?
Belinda, I could catch the exact number. I would say about 7, 8. And here we have 3 more coming. So very, very close together. Absolutely brilliant.
And Felix, it looks like absolutely perfect swim conditions there today.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Completely calm. We have no wind, not a slight bit of wind at the moment. So it's going to be very, very fast here for the bike now.
And Felix, what does it feel for you personally to be standing here at the swim exit, knowing that this race finally, you know, last year unable to be going ahead, this year it is going ahead, perfect conditions, you couldn't have asked for better conditions. How are you feeling?
Oh, very emotional. Very emotional, Belinda. Just so grateful that we are back and that we finally can deliver for our athletes that inscribed the race 2 years ago, and to see the team working as always, as there wouldn't have been any break for a year, it's very touching, very touching.
And of course, I've mentioned earlier on in the coverage, you have got one of the most, if not the most incredible team in the world. They're always behind you 100%. I've seen it time and time again here, year after year. The support that you get and the support that you give, and it really is like a family.
It is. It's a great team. Everyone is on his or her post, and it's just great to see that we can directly be back as if there wouldn't have been a break. And this is really amazing. And it couldn't be possible without the team. Everyone is back in the game. And so we are really, really happy.
Now, I've got Dylan McNeice with me, obviously, my co-host for the day, and he has a very special question that he wants to ask you.
Hey, Felix. So I think the biggest question for me is, are you still going to be doing the World Table Running Championship tomorrow?
No, we're going to skip this, Dylan, this year because we don't have the traditional volunteers party. Due to COVID restrictions, we can't do it in the Big Ten, so this will have to wait until next year.
Okay, so you're still the reigning world champ. That's good to know.
Yes, still. It's quite good that I don't have to defend my title today.
Now, Felix, I know we shouldn't do this, but who are your picks? Who are your picks in the men's race to take it out today?
Where I was really, really amazed by was Patrick. Just the way how he talked. He was sending me a lot of WhatsApp in the last day. Very, very confident. And to see his pure joy that he's finally being able to race here, I think will give him wings today. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see Patrick. But my heart beats actually for everyone. They're all friends. They're coming to Roth since many years. It's Sadie's fourth time. He was a rookie here when he came the first time to Roth. And great athletes, both men and women. I'm very grateful for this stellar field. And I wish it to all of them. But my pick, if you would ask me now, would be Patrick.
Well, it's awesome to have you out there. I'm sure we'll be calling you again during the day. I know that you are one of the only race directors that I've ever seen that actually is out on course on the back of a moto all day long for both the bike and the run. I'm sure you are dying to get out there on the course, as are all the spectators dying to see you. You often stop at nearly every aid station and thank all of the volunteers. I see it year after year. Is that the plan again today?
Yes, that's the plan again. I'm just grabbing my helmet and then it's off on the motorbike for both loops. I'm really looking forward also to see how the spectators are out there. Because yes, we had to ask everyone to stay home, but you can't trust here the county of Roth on that rule, and I'm pretty sure there are going to be a lot of spectators cheering on our athletes, and I'm very grateful for that.
Well, that's right. We have got some amazing coverage, obviously the live coverage here in English, but also BR and quite a few of the German channels have got it live, so there's no excuse to stay at home, but you are right, it is a beautiful day out there, so I'm sure people on the course, who live on the course, they get the bird's eye view, they get the best of both worlds, because they get to watch it on TV, but then open their door and see all the riders go past their doorstep.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, I'll go on the motorcycle and I will call in again, maybe from grading.
Awesome. That sounds like a plan, Felix. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day out there.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much for everything.
Bye. Of course, that was Felix Walsurfer, the race director here at Roth. He is one of the most incredible men that I've ever met. He truly is an absolute champion.
Yeah, such a great guy. Always one of those guys that's always excited to see you. He must know thousands of people, remembers them all. You see him walking around the venue here and just talking to everyone when he gets a chance. So yeah, great guy, and we're pretty lucky to have him in the sport and putting on races like this.
No, we certainly are. And back to our professional men's race, we have been given an update out on course. We've got some amazing spotters out there on course today. We do know that Niels Fromhold, Patrick Lange and Peter Heimrich are leading the way on the bike, and they are clocking speeds over 60 kilometres an hour. We know Nick Castelline is there as well. Those last two, there was a lead group of about 7 out of the swim. Thomas Davis was one of the last in that group out of the water. But it's going to be interesting to see if there is a break. So we had that lead group of 7. It'll be interesting to see whether that stays or whether the likes of Fromhold or Lange and Heimrich will be able to break that pack up straight away.
Yeah, I mean, a group of 7 is amazing. that's going to really kind of have some fireworks go on early in the bike. A couple of younger guys in there too. Philip Bulk, who's a young gun in Germany, and he's sort of on the up as well. So
Yeah, it will be very interesting to see. As we go to a quick commercial break, we'll be back with you shortly.
For everyone who loves adventure. For everyone who makes their dreams a reality. For everyone who aims high. For everyone who maintains a clear view. For everyone who keeps family close to their heart. For everyone who refuses to compromise, from head to toe. We protect you. Anytime, anywhere. Protecting people. Now available online. uvex-group.shop.
Successful companies produce a lot, like this, or something like this. In any case, they produce that. Numbers, a lot of numbers. Because with success comes a growing commercial effort. What entrepreneurs need is good software. From DATEV, because we create connections. Fast, secure, future-oriented connections between the data in the enterprise, the tax consultant, and every party involved. As one of the largest IT service providers in Europe, DATEV creates connections for sustainable success.
Wie wird unsere Welt von morgen aussehen? Vor dem Klimawandel können wir nicht davonlaufen. Wir müssen ihn aufhalten. There is no planet B. Invest in solar energy.